Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakaha Kodash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. This is your brother Dawadah from the Men of Valor campaign in Greenville, South Carolina, coming back with another video in sincerity and in truth. Lord willing, it can be edifying. And I just want to bring this out, a couple verses in Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, man. All right, because, this is where we are. All right, as of right now, we're still going on the highways and hedges. We know that the famine of hearing the word of Yahweh by Shemiah Shai, will come to pass. All right, as they push this whole AI, NWO, and they integrate the MOTB into it. They're not going to have us on the streets much longer, spilling the beans, so to speak. We know the Lord is going to withdraw his word in accordance to the said number in Revelations, the 7th chapter. All right, that 144,000, 12,000 out of each tribe, each of the 12 tribes. And these are men, and these are your prophets. All right, once that said number is sealed, the Lord is going to allow the floodgates to open. All right, now there's still going to be members of the elect, all right, that continue to come in, during the tribulation. But, the Lord is holding back the destruction, and breaking up the normalcy of, American life and everything, the bills, the work and all that. The Lord is going to disrupt that once that said number is fulfilled, man. That's why we continue to do what we need to do in the preaching of the gospel, all right, to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, all right, so that the Lord's house can be filled. All right, now we know in America especially, all right, there's going to be more Israelites that perish than of them that be saved, but that just makes our chances better if we continue in this faith. All right. But nonetheless, everybody's going to see these men that y'all counted off, were telling the truth the entire time, man. I watched a old throwback of Elder Apostle Gabar, man. All right. And he has that same fervent spirit, on him today that he had back then. All right. Before he had gray in his beard. And that goes with, goes for the rest of the apostles, men that have been laboring for decades, man, telling you that America was going to be destroyed back before recessions, back before the .com bubble crash, back before Trump was president, fucking everything up, because now it's clear to see, it's plain to see that, this is the end. All right. But the spirit of Yahweh Shemiah Shai really has to be rested upon you for you to know that this is the end. Before all of the prophecies were coming to pass, man. That's why we give reverence to our elders and apostles, man. All right. Yeah, that's why the scriptures call them the seers. All right. They were able to see, the watchmen. They're watching. They're watching for the end. And we see that it's fastly approaching. So let's get some of this. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5 and verse 1. It says, "Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors." And that applies to the Israelites, man. All right. So now the righteous man is standing in great boldness, and it started with Elder Abba Bivens, who's back in the spirit world. All right. But, he fulfilled the scripture of the Lord sending Elijah the prophet before the great and terrible day of the Lord and turning the heart of the fathers to the children and the children to the fathers. All right. He got the ball rolling again because our heritage has been stripped from us, and now the Lord has, put us back in remembrance of who we are. Scripture saying in Baruch that in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves, man. And once we remembered ourselves, we started calling upon Yahweh by Shemiah Shai. And if you look throughout all the scriptures, every time Israel, gets tired of the affliction and the calamities, that the Lord sent upon them, and they get right and they call upon Yahweh by Shemiah Shai, the Lord comes and delivers them. All right. And we're in those times all over again. But the Lord isn't going to deliver all of Israel this time. He's going to deliver the elect. All right. And that consists of the 144,000 and the 1/3 remnant of men, women, and children that believe. All right. But right now, the righteous men are standing in great boldness. All right. Before these damn devils, we in enemy territory telling these devils they about to go down, man. They made no account of our labors, man. They call us lazy. They say go back to Africa. They trying to kick Issachar and the northern kingdom up out the land where they built this shit up, man. Even now, they till the land. They build for this devil, all for us to be disregarded. So they made no account of our labors. They don't give us any credit for the bill. Now, Trump did say that, that so-called African Americans built this nation. All right, but hey, guess what? We don't have an inheritance in it, and we weren't supposed to. Esau fully has it set in his mind that this is his shit. All right, and let it be. Hey, it's going to burn, man. Verse 2, it says, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. Right? You're going to be, petrified. You're going to be amazed at the salvation of Yasha Allah, man. All right, because to us, to you, we just niggas, spicks, wetbacks, Oh, y'all look homeless on the street corner. Y'all need to get a job, get a life, find something better to do. But how are the elect getting up out of here? On spaceships, man. Like brothers always say, we came on slave ships and we leaving on spaceships, man. We leaving in the chariots of Yasharallah, man. The chariots of Israel. The chariots of the kingdom, man. The chariots of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. All right, this is deliverance that hasn't been seen yet, man, because it's going to be what? Like it says in 1 Corinthians, the 15th chapter, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, man. When the missiles get shot up, you're going to see Yahushua come and call up the elect into the cloud, man, to a massive chariot. It says that in Revelation, the 11th chapter, and their enemies beheld them. So they're going to see it. We don't know who in particular, but we know our enemies, that's the same ones that saw us prophesy. They're going to see us going up, man. You're going to have Israelite foreigners. You're going to have Israelites that look like other nations that get beamed up as well. But only Israel, all right, because we had some Christians come up last week, man, still trying to fit in, still trying to, be grafted into the fold, man. This doesn't apply to anybody but Israel, man. And that's according to the flesh. Our lineage goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Regardless of what you look like, if your spirit bears witness with our spirit that we're the children of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and you believe, all right, then you're an Israelite. You can't fake Jake, man. You can't. So they're going to be amazed at our salvation. Verse 3, and they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves. All right, they're going to be thinking, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach. Yeah, these niggas. Who are these guys, man? They roll by us, they roll their windows up, or they laugh, they chuckle. But while they about to get burned up here, the elect gonna be going into the chariots, into the kingdom, man. Because when Yahushua comes back on those chariots, man, that's the kingdom. That's when all of our pain and suffering will vanish forever, man. No more heartache, nothing. No more pain. Verse 4, we fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor. Yeah, you counted us out, man. You think we just gonna fade out into the darkness, man. You think we just gonna go away. All right, well, this gospel and this counsel is not of men. It's of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So you can't overthrow it. And there's a great reward for those that stood stiffly for the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Verse 5, how was he numbered among the children of the Most High? And his lot is among the saints. All right, because you people look at us and you don't believe that we're men of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You don't believe that we're men of God, so to speak, in your minds. You think it's T.D. Jakes. You think it's a nigga in a three-piece suit at a mega church. Goofy. The prophets were on the highways and byways the whole time. Verse 6, it says, therefore have we erred from the way of truth, and the light of righteousness have not shined unto us, and the sun of righteousness rose not upon us. Exactly, because the Lord had it blocked from you. If you a heathen, it ain't for you anyway. But amongst our people, that scoff, that mock, hey, the Lord had your conscience seared with a hot iron because ultimately you were rejected. All right, it's already predestined who's going to make it and who's not, man. If you're of the elect, you can't make yourself not of the elect. 144. If you're of the elect, you can't make yourself not of the elect. If you're not of the elect, you can't make yourself of the elect, man. That's why, man, hey, we're so blessed to be in this truth, to be able to call upon Yahweh Shem Yahushua in this day and time, man. All right, we're in the last month of 2025, going into 2026, and shit about to hit the fan, man. This year flew by. Trump been fucking up everything, man. And he gonna continue to do it. So we know the end is nigh. And the same men that you rejected, the same men that you scoffed at, that you mocked at, you're going to see their salvation soon, man. All right, and that's the message. Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Makakradash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Till next time, Shalom.